It takes more for the AV, but.
You're on now. So, and that is absolutely true as far as, you can maximize it the best that you can, but ultimately, everybody's body is going to be different, and then there's also genetic testing and things like that, where each drug works differently based on genetics. So there's a lot being done right now when it comes to what is the right dose, because I'll tell you, there are a lot of CYP enzyme type errors of metabolism that, that dose for that patient may be half the dose based on whatever their genes are. And so that plays in a lot here too. And so the only drug I'm really concerned about is that proton pump inhibitor. And the other ones, you just do it based on, how it's working, and then you titrate as needed. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
So at 8, my daughter was diagnosed with vitiligo, and then at 13, she was diagnosed with localized scleroderma. How wary do we need? I mean, obviously her autoimmune system.
I think there probably is variability in practice. I typically do it every day, and to be honest, in some patients, if they have a lot of nausea, we actually have them double it the days like before, of, and after the methotrexate. Other providers sometimes decrease it on the day. I think there's variability amongst providers.
So it's not going to hurt to take it the day. It's not going to reduce the effectiveness. Our daughter, if we miss one day, she gets mouth sores. So
I think that comes from the adult rheumatoid arthritis literature, where they suggested that maybe the efficacy was a little lower if you took folate acid or high doses of it right around the time of it. But that doesn't.
Hi, I have a few questions. So I would like to know, with the physicians, you guys in your practice, how does the ANA and the AHA, do you do draws on your patients for that, do those testings when you're treating juvenile linear scleroderma?
I'm usually drawing those labs as initial screen. We're trying to evaluate systemic, maybe a little bit more at risk for extracutaneous involvement. So it's just sort of like maybe a little marker for that. In terms of the AHA, that's just one of the autoantibodies. The studies have been mixed as to its significance. If I find a patient that has a psoriasis and lupus, so all of our diseases can be mixed. So this is true for localized and systemic also, that some patients can have both of those diseases. But that does not mean that one is evolving into the other, because there are systemic sclerosis patients that develop localized scleroderma after they have systemic sclerosis.
But it could explain why somebody with localized juvenile linear scleroderma has Raynaud's and has positive ANA.
Raynaud's is found in 2 to 7% of
her labs. Her numbers don't quite show it, but actually it could be.
Yeah.
According to the numbers, it doesn't look like it, but it actually could possibly very well be this, because maybe if she's 1 point off, it doesn't that would say, oh, she doesn't have it. But in African Americans, the numbers may very well be off anyways because of her predisposed, because of her DNA, because of her genetics.
So the medicines are really all shared across, right? So these biological medicines we're talking about.
All right. I think the kids are going to be coming back in this room for the closing. So we'll open up those doors and let everybody in, then we'll start.